Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now, here's the guy who's getting more people pumped up in their headphones than Carly Rae Jepsen, Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast, Big Brother Canada recap for week number 10. And we are but 6 days away from the Big Brother Canada 4 finale. It's anybody's game, a lot to talk about. I have to say, I love this season of Big Brother Canada. It's been so fun to watch, and I'm a little bit always late in the game. I sort of like catch up right before we do this weekly show because I get so caught up with Survivor over Wednesday and Thursday, but then I tend to watch the whole week of the show on Friday, and I'm really pumped up about everything, and I'm especially excited for our guest. We have a fantastic guest for you guys today from Big Brother Canada 3. One of my favorite players. Here he is, Kevin Martin. Kevin, how are you?
Hey Rob, what's up, buddy? It's good to be on. Thank you for having me on. This is my favorite time to talk Big Brother, Final 5, Final 6. I'm excited to break it down, and thank you for the kind words in the introduction. Let's do it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say this is your favorite time to talk Big Brother because this is your 1-year anniversary from being on RHAP last year.
Yes, I was actually 1 year ago today. This is the triple eviction. Today, 365 days ago, I was evicted from the Big Brother house. And it's a little bit painful, but it's 1 year gone. After a year, it's like a breakup. You know, when you leave a girl for a year, you have to get over it, and we are over it. We're a full man again.
Oh no! All right. Well, nice to have you back. I hope we don't have to wait another year for that. I'm also very excited that you're going to be one of the people at Run It Up Reno later on this month. Less than 3 weeks to go until Jason Somerville's big event in Reno. Excited about that.
Yeah, super. So Jason Somerville just reached out a couple days ago, and he's like, Kev, come to Run Up Reno. And he's like, Rob's going to be there, some Survivor people, Boston Rob, I believe, Tyson, Anna Kate from this season, who I can't wait to meet. And so Run Up Reno is going to be crazy. Rob, how are your card skills right now?
I got to cram. I got to study up. I'm like one of these people in the Big Brother house where it's like I wasn't really paying attention, but I know, okay, what day was that competition? Okay, what day? What day did we lose? Did this person become a have-not? Oh, could you tell me again? Okay, let me write it down with my lipstick. Okay, and then we'll go from there. All right, so very excited to have Kevin here on the show. Of course, Alex Kidwell is here with us as well. Alex, how are you?
Doing good, Rob. You know, you get a lot of different things from me on the podcast. One thing you're not going to get is any kind of rendition of Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely
Come
not.
on, pump me up, Carly. All right, so a couple of programming notes for you guys. First, we have, if you're listening to the audio version of this, I have my exit interview with Joel that was recorded earlier this morning. Joel seemed to be in pretty decent spirits this morning when I spoke to him. So that's a fun interview if you want to catch that at the end of this podcast. And then we are also scheduled to have our interview with Arissa Cox, host of Big Brother Canada. Also, I would have to imagine a fan of Kevin Martin, right?
Oh, sorry, the Skype cut out there. What was that?
I'd say Arissa, a fan of Kevin Martin, no?
Oh, Arissa's great. Yeah, Arissa's like an amazing host. Like, if you guys don't follow Arissa on Twitter, if you tweet her, I don't know how she does it. She just answers back to basically everybody. Arissa's wonderful. Yeah, she feels like one of the house guests.
Yeah. And Kevin was so complimentary in the DRs.
Oh yeah, I tried to suck up a little bit. I thought, Arissa might have been behind the scenes pulling some of those twists, and I wanted to fall in my way. So that's why we tried to give it the flirty, and that didn't work out too well. But.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to have an interview with Arissa. We were scheduled to do it this morning. We were not able to make that happen, but that she is rescheduling with us for Monday. So look for that on Monday on the podcast. Again, barring any unforeseen changes in the plan, but I intend to try to make that happen for Monday. All right, so let's get into this, and of course, we're taking your questions hashtag RHAP or on our YouTube channel at robisawebsite.com/YouTube. Okay, Kevin, here we are. We're down to just the final 4. We're going to talk spoilers and the new HOH later on in the show, but I think that the big story this week is Joel. When I spoke to him this morning, I said, Joel, we came in this week and we said, there's no chance Joel gets voted out this week. Joel is automatically in the final 3. how did he go from being the swing vote at the final five, the same position that we talked about this week? Here's Ty with their, being two pairs of two, but now here's Joel with, pairs of two on both sides. How did he end up getting voted out this week?
Yeah, it was an absolute collapse. Like people will point to Jordan Parhar from my season as one of the worst collapses. I really believe that this was one of the biggest collapse in Big Brother Canada history. It was absolutely shocking. Final five, you have a solid two on one side, solid two on one side. No matter who wins the HOH, you're going to be a replacement nominee, and you should be saved by the votes, even if someone on the block wins the veto. Like, to break it down, how badly this went for Joel is kind of shocking. I think it's both credit to Cass's and Tim's ability, but it's also a huge detriment to Joel. Like if he plays this week a million times, he should be evicted, not a very high percentage at all. It was an absolute huge collapse. And but I mean, you got to give Cass and Tim credit. The fact that Kelsey won HOH Final Five and Tim and Cass are both in the Final Four is just appalling. It's absolutely one of the craziest weeks in my opinion.
But the Joel thing, it just went back and forth so many different ways, where it started off, okay, well, it was just a matter of poor communication, where he was still with the Threak show, and he just didn't message properly to Tim what he was trying to pull off, and he was going to help Phil in the challenge. Okay, but then it turned into, he was falling on his sword, then he wasn't, then he was getting thrown under the bus. That it was baffling to me just how many different ways it went bad for him in the course of this week.
Yeah, well, starting with that POV competition, again, coming from a person who has never been to a Final Five, if you're going into a Final Five power of veto, how do you not have pre-game meetings with your alliance? Strictly lay out the plan, guys. This is what we have to do. This is the best case situation. Joel wins, takes one of us off. Plan B, Joel gets elimination. We're going to help this person win. Like, how is the game plan? Like, this, you're going into this Super Bowl of Big Brother. The Final Five power veto is just a massive deciding in this 3-month-long game. Like, how are you not prepared? How is there this complete lack of communication? It was pretty. And then after that, I think it was just Joel kind of breaking down mentally, and like, I understand that the slop thing, you're in there for a long time, you can kind of lose a sense of what's going on, but it just blended between like him wanting to give up. I don't know if that was gameplay or honesty. Was there a moment where he honestly wanted to give up, or was he just trying to gain people's sympathy? I mean,
what do you think, Alex? Was that game, or that was actually real Joel?
I think there was like way too much time this week with Joel in the DR, like seemingly talking to, a therapist or someone trying to talk him down, that I don't think it was game. I think it was like past that point. I think Joel definitely had a really hard time with this situation. I mean, this really was, we have to remember, the first situation where Joel was kind of really put under pressure in this game. He really hasn't had to do much. He was on the block as a pawn up against Mitch, and Mitch was clearly public enemy number one, so Joel really didn't have to do anything to save himself there. And this is the first situation where he kind of had the screws put to him, and he just didn't handle it.
Yeah. And then there was the whole thing with the veto competition. Let's talk through all these different parts. So with the veto competition, where he sort of like was playing to Kelsey and the brothers of, hey, let me just win this competition. I want to win a veto, and I want to have it on my resume. So will you just let me win the veto? And it seemed like that they were sort of like, okay, felt like that they were working with him. But if they were trying to if the plan was that he felt like, okay, good, I convinced them that I'm working with them, and they're going to throw me the veto, why was he giving pieces to Phil? What part of helping him, throwing the veto to him, was him giving pieces to Phil, Kevin?
Yeah, it was insane. And on top of that, he didn't perceive what Tim would think when he saw that. So not only was he like being sneaky, but he literally pissed off both sides, failed to win the veto, and pissed off both sides all in like the matter of 5 minutes of just like amazing Big Brother television. It was awesome to watch, but my heart just sank for Joel because it was just a complete disaster. Like, I wonder, like, what was honestly going. I would have loved a pre-veto diary room session with him just to honestly figure out what was going on in his head, what he wanted to accomplish. And then, like, on top of that, so if Joel can't win the veto, what is Joel's best second plan? Well, for Kelsey or Phil to win the veto because he is obviously the replacement nominee. There was a diary room session where he said something like, well, as long as the veto is in our alliance's hand. No, Joel, no, it's either you or the other alliance where the veto needs to go or else you're in serious, serious trouble. So I think it was just he was confused, exhausted. It was again, a collapse.
Yeah, poor Joel. One of the things that Joel does, though, I do feel like that one of his weapons, which is not my favorite thing on reality show, is that I feel like he does play to people's sympathy as a move. Where I felt like a lot of times this week we saw him sort of reverting to the I want a person to feel bad for me so I can take advantage of them. Kevin, what do you think of that as a strategic move? Because I feel like that even if it works, I feel like it's the kind of thing that's really going to annoy people if you end up in front of the jury.
Mm-hmm. It can work, but it can also kind of blow up, kind of like Vanessa Rousseau-esque of show your emotionality. Sarah did it really well in my season where she was constantly emotional and she used it very, very well. But it wasn't again, Joel, I think he overdid it. If you can use that as a tool in Big Brother, I think it's very, very strong. But at the end of the day, who wants to give the guy who kind of was upset the whole time the money? You kind of want a confident player. When you stand at that final two, you need to give a story, right, where you're not Joel has been on a battle in the house. I don't know if that's the most sellable story at the end. So it's a tool, but if you use it too much, it's I think it's setting yourself up for second place.
Alex, what do you think of that as a tactic? And did you feel like that Steve went there last summer?
Yeah, to a degree. I think the tactic is fine. I just think it has to be coupled with other things, namely Kevin touched on confidence, and confidence is very, very important. But also, there needs to be an element of ruthlessness. I'm sorry. This is a game for the individual. Only one person can win, and your job is to make it you. That's a little ruthless just in its very nature. So when Joel's at a Final Five looking to protect him and Cass and Tim, he's not thinking about the only thing that matters, which is how do I get Joel into a final chair? And I think if you combine a plea for sympathy with a degree of ruthlessness, that's how we've seen people be very effective. People like Andy. That's how it's that combination that really makes a player good. Playing on sympathy is fine, but if you really are just a sympathetic character and there's nothing more behind, it's not a mask, that's really your face, then that's a different element altogether.
Yeah, going back to the beginning of the season, I felt like when we were talking about Joel and Mitch, and when Joel got letters from home, and he was, obviously very emotional about what he got from the letters. He said, I have this real family outside of the house who supports me, and then I also have my family in the house that supports me. And I said, this is a real red flag for me, because I think that Joel feels really invested in that the people in the house have his best interests at their forefront. And I think that you saw somebody like Cassandra really take advantage of that at the point where Joel sort of was like, oh, maybe I should give up for you. And she's like, well, I'll support whatever your decision is on this, Joel. I think this is the right call. And then we saw, and then even she went a step further. And then when he realized that it was too late. Could you speak a little bit about how badly Cassandra screwed Joel over this week, Kevin?
Oh, it was amazing. It was really, really good. Just to touch on that final note about Joel being a softie, I actually met, I met some people, friends, and they're like, Joel is on the show. That's who he is in real life. He's just the emotional softie that, and it kind of was his downfall this week. But going to the star of the show, Cassandra, has been amazing. Oh my God. It's been so wonderful. After her bio shoot at the start of the season, I was like, oh, this girl is going to be somewhat forgettable, but it's been amazing. Not only entertainment, but the perfect blend. In the history of Big Brother, some of our winners have been very boring. Usually boring gameplay equates to good gameplay. Again, Andy, like you just mentioned, amazing player, really dominated that game. Really, really boring. Really, really kind of TV. Whereas some of the winners like Dr. Will and hopefully Cassandra, as I'm I couldn't be more team Cassandra. Cassandra really, really preyed on Joe's emotionality to a beautiful moment. And some people on Twitter are like, hey, that's mean. I have sympathy for Joel. That's a tool. If you can use that to further yourself in the game, there's no moral aspect to what Cassandra did. I thought it was beautiful and amazing.
It's a mean game.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily want to co-sign boring TV for somebody like Andy, but I think that there's definitely a conscious effort to not rock the boat, whereas I think that Cassandra really has no issue with rocking the boat. And I think that her and Tim have been such a dynamic alliance together, because it's like it's also this built-in sort of thing. Like at any point, you don't know if their alliance is going to fizzle out. So I think that's what's really been so exciting about this Final Four in particular, where you have on one side, this very, very rocky thing where, Tim is, getting drunk and talking about the alliance to the other side. He's like, what are you doing? You totally screwed me over. I hate you. Then and they go back and forth, but it's also like, oh wait, is this a romance? Are these guys gonna hook up? So that's really wild. And then on the other side, Kelsey is not my favorite person on the show, but I feel like that the brothers have been such interesting TV as well, because they're an alliance and they count as one person, but it's like they're at each other's throats a lot of times too. So there's just been so much internal conflict between the two sides, let alone the two sides battling it out. Going down to the end, it's also like the actual sides themselves fight with each other. So it's been a lot of drama, I think, in this season. I think that's one of the things that's made it so fun.
Yeah, it's been really intense down the stretch, and like after Mitch left in, I think he got 9th place, and he kind of got like an early exit, and he was the kind of the narrator, the pinnacle of the show for a while. After he left, I was like, oh no, the season's just gonna downslide, but it has picked up very, very nicely. Again, the brothers have been like massively entertaining, and at the start of this season, you remember when they walked in and they kind of just called them out. Big Brother's like, yeah, you two are related. Like, there's nothing hiding. They're just like, you two are related. It's kind of cool that the choice worked out as well as it did.
It's so crazy that they are still here at the Final Four. I love the Sunday night episode where we really got to go behind the scenes of the double eviction. And it's always great on Big Brother, I feel like, when they do that and they show us things that were happening during the double eviction, because I think that we got on the show last Friday and we talked to Derek Levasseur, and we were saying, like, what was Nick doing here when he wanted to put himself up on the block? Was that a move? Were they, like, trying to show Joel, like, oh, Joel, we're so reluctant to put you on the block. We would rather put ourselves on the block. And when we got to see what happened, it was really just that Nick was so mad at Phil for putting up those nominations that he just was like, fine, we'll just put ourselves up. We're so mad. I'm so mad about this. I mean, how great is that? So angry.
It was awesome. And what are they interesting? Like, where's the pump fake nomination line drawn here? Like, they're like, we're nominate ourselves. Arissa's like, are you sure? No, we're not. You go on the block. Like, where's the line of like, no, it's said, it's in paint. Can I be up there and be like, Alex, you're nominated. Just kidding. We're actually gonna put you on the block. Like, you can throw a pump fake as the HOH, I guess, as long as you want.
Yeah, gauge reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, what do you think? Do you think that they should have to be up on the block, or do you feel like that they should be protected by, if the rules of the game say you can't nominate yourself, then they shouldn't have to go up on the block?
Alex, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody made the point, and it's a good one, that there is a circumstance that could occur where by nominating yourself, you can actually swing the votes in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, there is a scenario that exists where nominating yourself could actually feasibly be good for the HOH, so I think it's in the rules that you can't. And I think there was a point Tim talked about wanting to nominate himself during his week, and they wouldn't let him do that. So I appreciate the consistency. It would have been nice if we had just been like, no, try again, right from the get-go. The uncertainty killed me.
Yeah. So do you think that do you like that as a move, that you called it the pump fake, where it's like, we're going to nominate ourselves and just sort of like read the room and see what people do, like who was like really sweating the hardest, and then they're like, okay, all right, it's really you.
I mean, I kind of hate to say it, but it did, like, cement their legacy as dinguses, right? Like, isn't that a piece of what's gotten them this far without being targeted? Is everyone just sees them as two kind of very, guys that, like, oh, yes, there's two of them, but together they're still not quite as smart as I am. And that's why they haven't really been targeted, right?
Well, I think that
helps.
That was the meme that Tim had made during the season of, like, two brains and, whatever it was, and it's still not an advantage. I forget exactly what the joke was, but I think that as Stephen Fishback, I keep going back to this all the time, Kevin, the greatest strength is perceived weakness, and they've really been like the Keystone Cops at times, and I think that that's one of the main reasons why they're still here at the Final Four.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it doesn't matter what is actually happening. I used to argue about that in jury house all the time. Like, this is what happened. This is what happened. No, it's how people perceive it to happen. It's all like, if someone thinks you're a threat and you can't lift a 5-pound dumbbell, it doesn't matter. They think you're a threat. So to the credit of the brothers, they have played up that role slightly strong. Can they get the jury vote at the end? I mean, we're down to 4 here. Like, when you actually look at the list, who is going to be the champion here? I don't know. I could see a situation where all 4 could potentially win this game. And usually when you get to a Final Four, it's like maybe 3 can win, maybe only 2 of them can win. But I think a jury vote would give Nick and Phil, after the crazy, they've won, 4 competitions now?
Can Kelsey win? Does she have a shot to win?
Oh, that's the one that's like,
she's
very, very
unpopular. She's been out of the house. She came back in.
She's got the Raul. She got the third wheel vote, so she has 2 of the 9 votes locked down.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, it would be kind of clawing. So, I mean, there has to be a situation where it's feasible. Again, if we ran this Final Four simulation a million times, she might win, but the percentage is small.
What's her best bet? The brothers, Alex?
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough because I think if the brothers were on the jury, that's a vote she could feasibly get. However, the only scenario where she potentially gets Canada's vote is against the brothers. So that's a bit of a one-for-one trade-off that I don't think there's a winner there either.
I feel like the brothers are a lock for the Canada vote. Do you feel like that the brothers are unpopular with Canada? I mean, weren't they in that final 2 of the roulette HOH with Nikki, voted on by Canada?
Yeah, but I got the impression, that really a lot of people, in talking to people, because I didn't vote, but in talking to people that did vote, I got the impression that they just wanted to make the brothers pick a side. And so, it's very possible. I think the brothers, are liked by a lot of people. I just think Tim and Cassandra come to my mind first as the people most likely to win the Canada's vote.
Kevin, you're out there, you're on the streets in Canada talking to people about Big Brother. What's the word on the street? Are people in or out on the brothers?
And I haven't been outside of my house in like a week, but anyway.
And populist message of Canadian pride.
I think there's obviously some controversy and there's some haters out there, but overall people are just entertained by them enough to give them the vote. Like, that's something we've never had 2 people play as one player. It's a unique enough gimmick. They've done a good enough job with it. They've won enough competitions. They've had enough good funny die rooms. They've gone through such a. I think that again the brothers will get the vote over Kelsey. I can't see a situation where Kelsey gets the Canada's vote.
Yeah. No, there's no way she gets Canada. I think she's the one that's drawing dead, right? Am I doing that right, Kevin?
Again, I have to give her. She's not drawing dead. There's like a runner or something that she can hit here.
What is that? What is that?
Oh, runner.
You're gonna twist in the offing for her? Does Levita get to come back and vote?
Yeah, where's Levita again? Let's get
to coach her up again?
Well, yeah, I think when Kevin talks about like a runner scenario, yeah, it's something like, a rampant wave of like the brothers talked about not wanting an international to win. Like, if she's up in the final 2 against Tim and then suddenly a rampant wave of xenophobia sweeps the jury house, like, that's the kind of runner, small percentage scenario I think that Kevin's talking about.
Kelsey needs to take Tim. That's her shot of the plea. Hey, I'm a Canadian. This is a prideful game. We're a proud country. Vote for me. Don't give it to the Australian. Even though Tim's been like phenomenally an amazing player. That's her one chance that I can. And there's Rob. You can't. She's not drawing dead. There's a small chance that could happen.
Okay, well, Taryn brings up a good point in the chat room. He says that Kelsey has a real shot of beating the brothers because in the jury video there was very little respect for their game. Kevin, that we've talked about many times on the podcast in Big Brother and in Survivor, a jury is going to vote for the person that they can live with getting beat by. Do you think that people in the jury will say, hold on, these 2 dinguses did not win the season. These 2 idiots didn't get together and beat all of us. Give it to at least I have respect for Kelsey's game. She may have come back into the house, but at least she was playing on her own, as opposed to these 2 brothers that it's a miracle that they got to this point.
Yeah, I can definitely see sides to both argument, but I'm leaning towards the brothers getting the vote anyway. Of like, there's the argument that they had a target on the back, 2 physical competitors. They won that power of veto, which was basically who can take the most punishments. People are going to respect that. And again, it's not so much that people are going to not respect the brothers. They're going to disrespect Kelsey because she was eliminated in 12th or 13th place. If this was a normal season without what was it this year? A wild card? It wasn't even Twistos. We're giving Twistos free promotion here. They're not even on the show anymore. Anyway, so yeah, like the Second Life thing in Big Brother, I believe, really impacts a jury. It didn't with Gary in season 1, but I think Gary's the anomaly that is just super likable. I can't see Kelsey, winning that jury vote.
They should call it the OxyClean spin cycle.
The show me, I don't know, whatever show me twist you want to call it. The rap on Big Brother is always, it's the twist, it's too twisty. I mean, I feel like we did have that moment in the middle of the season with the Mitch thing, but do you feel like that overall this season, when we're looking back now, has been dominated by the twists?
No, it's been a good mix this season. People say twists are bad, and I view twist in a couple different lights. There's a twist that is just pure variance, no skill, thrown in the mix, someone gets screwed, they're out. For example, I don't know, you can look at like the Mitch thing was close to that. Then there's twists that involve skill, that they give good players good time to analyze the situation and adapt. My favorite twist in the history of our show is our season, actually, in the final 3, where Ashley, Godfrey, and Sarah had to debate who they were going to kick out of the jury. This is an awesome twist, allows drama, allows good television, and allows good players to take advantage with a set rules. Whereas like just a random twist like an instant eviction or Canada vote someone back in, I don't get any joy from that, because I really like twists that equip good players and allow them to show their skill set. So Alex, this season's done well with that.
Alex, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, you seemed very down on it because of the twist. It seems like over these last couple of weeks there have not been too many. How do you feel overall about the twistiness of this season?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd stand up and applaud what Kevin just said. Absolutely. I don't think it's really about quantity of twists so much as quality of twists. And I think there are certain twists that, like Kevin said, have, a limited degree of variance to the point where good players can be on the lookout for them and game them. And then there are other twists that really, like, no one in their right mind or no one really and forever should be able to be prepared for. And I think it would be nice if we could limit those and maximize the others. Like, case in point, I seem to recall Kevin picking at a tile in the floor later in the season proved very, very relevant. Oh, yeah. Why wasn't Kevin allowed to open that tile? You know what I mean? Like, that tile was only opened on its own for someone at the predetermined time. No, if you're going to hide something, hide it. Great. But then, like, whoever finds it because they're scratching and clawing and digging around, that should be the person that gets it.
Yeah. So I agree. I think that we, for the most part, and I'm sure Mitch would definitely object, but I think that the course correction was at least headed in the right direction from last season to this season.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But to touch on the Mitch thing, Mitch, man, like when you look at it from what happened here, the 12th and the 13th eliminated contestants got basically God mode over the house. They got to listen into conversations. These people got 12th and 13th, and then they got to come back. It's like if people are running a marathon race, you take the people in last up into a helicopter, you give them a sniper rifle. Who are they going to shoot at? They're going to pick off the guy in first. And there goes it's like Steph Curry, you're out of the NBA playoffs because you're too good. It's like, oh well, shit, I want to watch Steph Curry.
Isn't that what happened?
Oh,
I'm so happy right now listening to this. I can't even tell you how happy this makes me.
It's just like give twists that can. I can rant about this forever. I don't know how it affects ratings or something. Our content is good here in Canada, but there's still that ingredient that we're missing. And this season is a correction from last season. God, our season was just insane variance. It was crazy. But there you go. I don't want to rant anymore. Rob, what's the next question? I get too fired up about it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Tim and whether he is a mastermind or a loose cannon, because I think you could really paint the picture both ways. We had this week where he ends up getting drunk and talking about what was going on with he's like, oh, by the way, we have an alliance, and they're like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, you're in it, and that was basically like spills everything about the Threak show, and Joel gets very upset about that. And then ultimately, Kelsey and the brothers talk about that, wait, hold on a second, that there was this whole alliance. It was the whole thing after he won the veto where he basically is, pounding his chest and talking about how this is, he's out for himself now, no more alliances, he's done. Do you think that Tim has been, is he too out of control?
Alex, you hammer that one. I've been talking too much.
Hey, man, you're the guest. I'm on these all the time, man. People hear from me. But, personally, I don't I think it's a mixed bag with Tim. You know, there is that element of him that's like the Joker. You know, he's like the mad dog chasing cars. He doesn't know what to do with it once he catches it. You know what I mean? But there's also a very calculated side to him. So it has been interesting to see the back and forth. I really do believe these are just like the two sides of his personality, and the one is better at the game, but the other's better television, I think.
I mean, he plays it under the guise of where I come from, we don't have alliances. You know, we play it for ourselves. You know, I'm going back to my roots in terms of this. I don't know how to be in an alliance, and throws it in. I'm sure he does. I think that's probably an exaggeration. So, Kevin, do you think that he is one? Is he one of the masterminds of not just this season, but that we've seen in all of Big Brother, or do you think that he's just the loose cannon?
No, he's very, very. Again, the loose cannon thing is you can really tell loose cannon by diary rooms, in my opinion. You see someone like God love him, big heart, big DZ in the diary room. You're like, okay, this guy's a loose cannon. He's not really, you know. Whereas Tim, good articulation in the diary rooms. Look, he comes in with a target. People know he's won the game before, and again, like you were talking about perceived perception. Somehow he has this perception that he doesn't want to win. He's won the game before. And he has people believing that he doesn't want to win. It's pretty beautiful. And again, it's a little bit out of control, but at the end of the day, I think it's way, way, way more towards the mastermind on that scale.
How much can Cassandra trust Tim?
I mean, Tim's going to cut Cassandra at Final 3 if he wins that HOH, right? I don't see Cass and Tim in the Final 2 together.
Yeah, do you think this is going to be like a John and Netta thing?
John and Netta situation where they realize that they are both the biggest threats to win the game, and they're good enough, they have removed their emotions enough just to make the smart decision. I can't. Oh my God, yeah. If it's like the brothers go out in fourth or whatever, if Tim has to choose between Kelsey and Cassandra, it's Kelsey's going to get second place every time, I think.
Alex, how do you think that would play out?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this isn't a feed spoiler because, it happened before Joel was out of the house, but, Kelsey, the brothers, and Tim did put their hands in and make a Final 3 pact. How much any member of that group actually was being serious is up for debate, but hands were put in the middle, which is more than you could say for Cass.
Yeah, because going back to the John and Netta thing, Netta was really pissed that night. She voted for John, but she's really pissed. I wonder, do you think? And it looks like we've definitely seen more friction between Tim and Cassandra than we ever saw between John and Netta in their season. Is it possible that one of them burns the other and then they don't vote for each other in the end, Kevin?
No, I think the votes are gonna if Cass votes out Tim, Tim's gonna vote Cass, and if Tim votes out Cass, Cass gonna vote. No, they're not gonna be the bitty jury. They have enough self-awareness not to be the bitter, third place jury member that we've seen typically. Even though look at how pissed Netta was, and she still voted for John.
Yeah, Alex, do you see it the same way?
Yeah, I mean, granted, Netta's alternative wasn't exactly, someone that she considered an actual alternative. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, will the situation be the same? Like, right. Could you see Cass voting for the brothers or Kelsey over Tim? I really couldn't.
Yeah. The brothers twist, I think, has really just been so fantastic in terms of the TV, and I really just can't speak enough about just watching them just at each other's throats this past Sunday night, and just Nick just like giving it to Phil, and almost like Phil was like taking his penance of like, no, just go after me, just lay it on me, just give it to me, and it really was so spectacular. Do you think that, Kevin, was it just did they just find the perfect two guys, or could this twist work with other people in the future?
No, I really think they just found the two perfect guys. They found two young males with large egos, deservedly so. I think they're amazing and hilarious. I think they got bright futures ahead of them. But they found two perfect guys, and it has just clicked so beautifully in terms of television. And how are they still there? Between all the little pieces, between them walking through the hallway to go vote together, they all have to sit on their half of the couch. It's hilarious. By the way, imagine, Rob, if you got on Survivor your first season, and then Jeff Probst is like, and Rob, welcome in your cousin, or someone like, how mad would you be?
Right.
Like, get out of here. Like, this is my moment. I would have been pissed. Big brother, are you kidding me? But
no, I actually think that me and my brother, I think, would probably be a lot more like the Pax brothers. I think in terms of what the moves that my brother would be wanting to make on Survivor. I think that would actually be pretty interesting.
The twist has been wonderful. It's been beautiful.
Yeah. But Alex, could you imagine, would it have been better off in Big Brother 17 if the Nolan twins, instead of playing as separate people, should they have played as one person?
Yeah, I would have rather seen that because, I mean, and then also poor Jace wouldn't have had to have his face taken off the memory wall. Like, he's not even part of the season. That wasn't cool.
I know.
Oh, boy. They're still the best.
I can't believe they took his face off.
So, not cool.
Yeah. So let's get into some of these questions that we have for people. This is from Dominica K. wants to know, where does the Cass and Tim duo land in the best TV rank in terms of an alliance? What do you think of that, Kevin? Are you willing to go there?
Yeah.
Did they knock Kevin and Peely out of the top spot?
Oh God, we were never there. We're gonna, in terms of entertainment, we were not there, but we're gonna just keep it in context. I'm not gonna go Survivor, Amazing Race. In terms of Big Brother Canada, I'm thinking of super duos. John and Netta, it's tough to knock them out. I mean, that's close. They're in the contention. Jillian and Emmett, there are also. Oh my God, it could go. Just keep it in context. I'm not gonna go Survivor.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. Like, there's been some fantastic dynamic duos. I really think Jillian and Emmett doing it in the first season the way they did it is still going to hold that number one spot.
They showed that on the show?
What's that?
Nothing. So let's keep going. Edward Morris wants to know, how much would Kelsey being voted out already be held against her in the jury? Do you think that people would really be upset about that? What do you think, Alex?
I mean, it's just a reason, right? It's a reason not to vote for somebody that no one else has working against them. You know what I mean? And it's a pretty good reason. Like, this is someone that finished worse than you if she doesn't get a twist that really anyone could have gotten. It's not like Kelsey did something specifically different than you did to receive this benefit. It's just kind of, they had predetermined that it's going to fall on this date, and that happened to be the date Kelsey goes. So there's just a lot of reasons, right? Like you talked about, like, can you tolerate this person being seen forever as you're better, as the person that beat you in this season? I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to see Kelsey in that light and cast that vote that way. And yeah, so I think it is a factor.
Okay. Let's take another question about the duos. This is from Moose Girl 96. Power rank the BB Canada dynamic duos: Emmett, Jillian, John Netta, Tim, and Cassandra. You want to give official rankings on those? Alex, you prefer to rank things more than Kevin, I think.
I'm a power rankings guy. Sure.
I don't want to hurt my friend's feelings.
Sure. Yeah. No. It's kind of tough, right? Just like in a vacuum right now. I think I would put. Oh man, Jillian did bring competitions, and Emmett was very strategic. John and Ned are both, very well-rounded players. Tim and Cassandra are very well-rounded, but not necessarily that great at competitions. I'd probably go John and Netta, then Tim and Cassandra, then Emmett and Jillian, just off the top of my head.
Okay.
Quickly off the top of my head, number one, Jillian and Emmett, because they actually wouldn't have cut each other, a.k.a. JT and Stephen Fishback. I think that's the best power couple in a lot of seasons of Survivor. And then I go with John and Ned a second, and because.
All right, Kevin's cutting out there for a second. Alex, you still with us?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I guess Kevin's argument, the internet didn't like it too much, but
the internet used the power of veto.
But
right.
No, I think he makes a good point, right? If you're looking at a dynamic duo in terms of, I was just thinking how good are these players? And I think, right, if you're talking about a dynamic duo, Kevin's right that you do need to think about were these people true to each other to the end? Because that's really the power in a dynamic duo. It's the willingness to. Even when the writing's on the wall to a degree, we've seen duos be able to get themselves out of spots that an individual can't because they're willing to put their faith in each other. So Kevin made a really good point there.
Yeah, Kevin is back with us. Did you want to finish anything on that thought, Kevin, before the internet triple evicted you?
I just think Jillian and Emmett are the biggest power couple, and yeah.
Okay. Gregory McBean wants to know, can you guys rank the final four from most satisfying winner to least satisfying winner? Let's start at the bottom. Who's the least satisfying winner this season? It has to be Kelsey, right? She's been evicted.
She can't be the champion, dude. She can't. I mean, she can. But just the fact, yeah. I think she's the least satisfying winner.
Least satisfying winner, unless you're Jared, right?
Yes, Jared is gonna try to swing that cherry home.
By the way, Kevin, would you shave your head if you had to win the power veto?
Oh God, man, I can't you like rage through my veins. Oh man, like it's just devastating that he spent that much time in there strategizing, like through casting. You go through months of casting. You're on the show. You're such a small group of people, and then you're like, oh God, I really like my hair. You know,
Yeah, I've only been in the house for 9 weeks. I've been growing my hair for 2 years. So,
and then, like, again, this is a little weird. I have a lot of respect for the Big Brother house. It was the best time I've ever had in my life. It is the holy ground. And, like when I got evicted, kissed the ground, I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss this place. Let's go. My time's up. Jared, my hair's worth more than $100,000. It's like, oh, man. You know, you can sense so many Canadian superfans just saying, put me in there. I'll shave anything. Yeah.
I'm glad he tripped on his way out. I'm glad.
All right. So then, who is the third? Is the brothers third least satisfying winner?
No.
Who?
Third least satisfying is Mr. Tim. I think. I think the brothers are a satisfying.
I guess third most satisfying.
All right.
I don't want to. Okay.
So Kelsey's
right. Kelsey's at the bottom. Kelsey's at 4. Who's at 3?
Tim.
Tim. Wow. Yeah, Tim. Why Tim over the brothers?
Because the brothers, again, they've this gimmicky, unique twist, and they've just been like more entertaining.
Is it Canadian pride? Is it that Tim's Australian?
A little bit, slight bit of that. Tim's already once. I just think, but you're right. I'm just being that. Like if who was playing the better game, Tim's a more satisfying win. But I've just been so entertained by Nick and Phil. I would love to see them celebrate and figure out how to share their $100,000. I think it would be amazing.
It would be hilarious. Alex, are you co-signing that you would have the brothers as the in the top 2 of most satisfying over Tim?
Personally, I would have the brothers at 3, but this is once you start the conversation of most satisfying, this is an opinion question. So Kevin is certainly entitled to feel the way he feels on this.
Okay, and then 2, do you have the brothers at 2?
Brothers at 2.
Pax Bros at 2. And then number 1, you have Cassandra. I'm reading between the tea leaves.
Man, if Cassandra's just been everything. Oh, it'd be by far the most satisfying.
Let me ask a question that I don't think we've talked about yet this season. I've always talking about potentially maybe if there's an all-star season for Big Brother. Do you think that if there was all-stars, do you think that if the brothers were included, that they would have to play again as one person, or do you think that potentially that they would split them up? Because I think we're definitely at that point where we're starting to have them in that conversation, right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's an amazing thing that I've never thought of. Would it be Nick and Phil together for All-Stars, or would they be their own player? I think it would be fascinating to see them play individually after seeing them play together.
No, but they have to be back together. I think. How funny would that be?
Or go back to the original twist and have them switch out every week and see if no one notices.
Oh, it'd be so great. And then you could tell them that they're gonna play. You guys will play separate this time. Like, oh, okay, cool. And then like the twist is like on the first night, like, oh, Pax Bros, you're playing as one again. Like, oh, come on, it's not fair. They'll get like into an argument the first night.
They look so similar now with their shaved heads too. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, that'd be very, very fun, I think, to explore that. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more questions, then we'll get into the live feeds. Let's see. This is from Nick McFarland. It seems as though the only person left that Nikki wants to vote for is Cass. Do you think she's really upset with Tim? Would she vote for him in a Tim Kelsey or a Tim Brothers, the final 2? Alex, do you see any scenario where Nikki is going to vote for Tim?
Yeah, I do. I mean, she's definitely mad at him. She does seem like someone who's capable of holding a grudge, but man, she really had her issues with the brothers. If it's Tim and the brothers were like in her face, like they were like if Tim and Nikki were standing outside and the brothers like, yeah, we applaud your game, Tim, taking the people that don't do anything, like pointing at Nikki, like to the end. You know what I mean? Like they really insulted her when they were on the block that week. Mm-hmm. I just can't imagine that even though she's slighted by Tim voting her out, that she would reward the brothers over her. I just can't picture it.
Boy, Nikki was really giving it to Jared last night in the jury house, right?
Yeah.
Really? So, I was talking about like, oh, that Phil's gonna steal your girlfriend.
Well, it's funny because now, like, we almost got like a bit of an edit, like, slash montage of that on the show, and like Jared's definitely gonna see that, so it'll be interesting. Someone needs to record that as a reaction tape.
Yeah. No, I did also like, the Nick and Phil, that so many times this season they've gone back and forth with, like, getting on each other, where it was early in the season, it was Phil telling Nick, like, hey, don't hook up with Maddie, you got to leave her alone, and now we have, the opposite, where Nick is saying to Phil, like, hey, don't flirt with Kelsey because it's really making Joel uncomfortable, and don't do that. So it's there's been so many times that the brothers have paid off this season. I thought I was gonna hate this twist so much, but it's been so good, Kevin.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I wonder what they're going to try to incorporate in the future. Like, are we going to see a female pairing in the future, which would also be interesting, or again a Julia-Liz situation? But
I think
this one is struck goal.
Leave it alone, because I think it's not going to be a favorable comparison if they try anything else.
Quintuplets, all having to play as one.
Yeah.
When are we just going to play Big
Share
Brother
that chair,
teams?
you guys. Come on, get in there. Get in that diary room. Pile on in.
No, we tried that Big Brother 9, and it did not go great.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into talking about the spoilers from the live feeds. Of course, that we've got a lot coming up here on the podcast in this final week of Big Brother. The feeds go dark, I believe, on Saturday, according to Big Brother Canada, but we still have one more recap on Sunday night coming up with Jordan and our final live feed update, and then we will get into, I believe, finale coverage with Jordan this Thursday night. So be on the lookout for all that, and I'll be live 1 week from today with our post-finale coverage. And let's get into some spoilers. Hold on, and spoilers coming up right now. Or, hold on. There's a twist. Okay.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
A spoiler.
warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
A spoiler.
against this country has been detected, and that protective action should be taken.
All right, so let's talk about the spoilers of what's going on. Here we are. We're down to the final four. We had sort of a wacky HOH slot machine veto competition. I don't think we've seen that before. Alex, we saw Tim get the first two questions right. Who won the HOH?
Yeah, that's right. Firing right out of the gate. HOH is the brothers.
How did Tim blow it?
Yeah, it's a great question. He looked awfully good until it went down. Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out on Sunday.
Okay, so basically, Final Four HOH, basically it's just immunity. We know the brothers will move on to the Final Three, but now it really all is going to come down to veto, because the veto holder will be the person who decides who goes home, and I would imagine that veto competition has it been held yet, Alex?
No, in fact, nominations haven't even really happened yet. They're doing their awards show tonight, Rob.
Oh, the awards
Glitter
show.
Gary has entered the house to help everyone get ready.
Who's going to co-host with him? Kevin, do we have any guesses?
No, it is not me and Peely.
It is not.
Definitely
Ika
not a moose of any kind. I guarantee that.
Ika was with them last year? Was that right, or did I imagine that?
No, Ika was there last year. Yeah, Ika was there.
Okay, so we'll see if she is back, or maybe if they go in a different direction.
Maybe Brittany Blair, the model, will get in there for a little.
Yeah. Do we know that Gary was there, Alex?
Yes. Gary has come in the house. He is helping people, get ready for, looking good for the big.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he had a falling out after he's not on the sideshow this season.
No. Well, I guess not. He's still their go-to fashion guru in the Big Brother Canada house.
Okay, all right. So we'll see what happens when we get to that show on Sunday night, and then we'll get to what's going to happen with this veto. Now, Alex, could you just talk us through what is the significance of winning the veto here at the Final Four? Can you just talk us through some of with people being nominated versus not being on the block?
Sure. So, obviously, now that the brothers have won HOH, everyone is aware at this point, in watching. They've made it very clear that Kelsey is their person, that they're sticking tight with Kelsey. Last week they were going to do what Kelsey wanted to do. It was Kelsey who was ultimately swayed into keeping Cassandra, and the brothers were, down to do what Kelsey wanted to do. So you got to assume that, based on just, what's left, they're going to nominate Tim and Cassandra. And then, like you said, it really all comes down to the veto. I mean, if one of those two win the veto, then they pull themselves off. The brothers have no choice but to nominate Kelsey. And then it is, the person that won the veto who's the sole vote to evict. So it really does come down to the veto here. The Final Four veto is infinitely more powerful than HOH at this point.
Okay, so we'll see what happens. Kevin, do you have any prognostications for how this works out?
Well, I've always proposed that Big Brother maybe change their format for Final Four. This is my thinking. Hear me out. Final 6, Final 5, most interesting part of their show. Very dynamic. Every single decision's interesting. And then we get to the Final Four. It's kind of like, let's win immunity, right? The Final Four, there's an HOH and POV competition. You get 2 shots to win immunity with 4 people left. That just seems like a ridiculous opportunity just to not strategize and win yourself to the end. So if you're in that Final 5 and your ally wins HOH, you're safe for Final 5. You got to compete in Final Four veto only against 2 other people, or excuse me, Final Four HOH against 2 other people, and then the veto competition. Like, if a good competitor can get down to the Final Four, it just seems like at the end of the game, the whole game is strategy, strategy, strategy. Comps don't mean very much. They're important, strategy, strategy, and at the end it flips, and it comps is everything and strategy is less. Because it's just like, can you throw the ball in the hoop? Can you remember what days? I mean, and there is skill to that. It's just not as captivating to watch.
So what do you propose?
Again, I haven't come in anything. I haven't had a better idea. So,
I mean, should there just be no block where it's just like, okay, well now there's just the veto,
a survivor style vote? I don't know.
I think you need to get at least to get 2 people onto the block so they get the one person. I feel like we're sort of like 15 years down the rabbit hole. I feel like if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
I think it is broken though, but I mean, again, not many casual fans sitting at home are going to say this is a bad format. It's just kind of the nerds on the forums.
Yeah, really, what it means is that right? Ideally, you do what Andy did, which is get yourself to the end with someone like Spencer, who is not built for these physical endurance competitions, and someone like Gina Marie, who you are confident you can beat in any mental competition. You know what I mean? Like, you really do have to craft your end game accordingly.
Okay. All right. So we will see what happens when we finally get to that veto competition. So, all right. So the brothers are in the final 3. Who's really on the hot seat? Do you think that that we're going to see Tim or Kelsey or Cassandra ultimately walk away? I guess the brothers could as well. Alex, how do you see this shaking out?
Oh man, it's so up in the air with this veto. I mean, it really does just come down to that, but. I think, like I said, I mean, they've said something, they've committed verbally to Tim in a way they haven't to Cassandra, but I don't know that necessarily means they would keep Cassandra. I think they would lean towards evicting Tim if, say, Kelsey won the veto and they didn't have to change anything, and it was still Kelsey and the Pax Bros ultimately making the call. But, yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. We'll definitely have a bit of lack of understanding with this round of the game as opposed to others because we're not going to have feeds, so we're not going to know too much until really Sunday's episode.
Do you have a gut feeling on how it's going to go?
I tend to think that Tim's in trouble here.
All right, well, that's good news for Kevin, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just want Nick and Phil to win. I'm obsessed with them. Whoever wins that veto has the 1 vote, right? So we could even break it down into 4 situations where if Kelsey wins, I mean, it's either Cassandra or Vin. But if Cass or Tim wins, isn't Kelsey screwed? Like, isn't there 2 people that if they win, Kelsey, they have the 1 vote, they just send Kelsey home? Because I don't think they're going to evict each other at Final 4. They're going to wait till Final 3. But those are all. Who knows? Just like Alex said, it's a little up in the air.
Yeah, Alex, who do Tim and Cass see as the jury goat out of Kelsey or the brothers?
I think they both feel they can beat both of them, to be honest, and I don't think that they're necessarily wrong, especially Cass. Well, I don't know. Cass, certainly the jury got a lot more. You saw in the jury, footage that they didn't really see Cass as doing much until she got out Jared, but that did change people's perspectives, and now they really do seem to see Cass as a front runner. So that really helped Cass a lot. I think that Cass would definitely keep Tim till Final 3 and maybe even till Final 2. I think Tim knows enough to know not to take Cass to the end. So Tim might keep Cass to Final 3. I really don't think he would keep Cass to Final 2.
Do you feel like
he would try to pull a John and to Hernetta at that point?
Do you feel like that Cass and Tim are starting to suspect that the other one could be throwing each other under the bus?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, we saw some of that this past week where Tim is talking about, I'm a one-man, I'm, playing for my own now. The phase of alliances in this game is over. And to a degree, he's totally right because Joel was looking out for his alliance. We saw how that worked out for him. Tim took the correct approach in that this is an individual game and this is the stage where I have to play it for myself. And then, conversely, Cass doing the same thing by, really kind of selling to Kelsey that she's all about girl power, that she doesn't want Tim in the end with her, that she has always felt like Tim is someone she can't fully trust, and that she's always done more for Tim than Tim has done for her, which, she has things she could point to, like using veto on him when he didn't use veto on her, that are selling points. So, yeah, I think we've definitely seen them, at least, publicly try to distance themselves hard this past week.
Mm-hmm. Have there been any lingering effects between Phil and Nick over that whole debacle from Sunday night, or have they sort of gotten over that, Alex?
It's funny because I don't know that they've ever really gotten over any of the things that have happened all season. It's just gradually accumulated, and it's made them like more prone to reacting bigger to little things. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that Nick, had enough in terms of Phil just keeping him down throughout this game. Nick really wasn't allowed to do much of anything for most of this game because Phil would tell him that he was doing it so terribly. And, it was a cool role reversal to see Nick just on the other side of that, but I don't think it was much long after that before Phil was, once the shock of what had happened and the fact that they had gotten out Nikki when they realized there was a three-person alliance, once that all wore off, Phil was back to, doing what Phil does and telling Nick to be quiet.
Okay. All right, Kevin, question for you from the BB president. Kevin, as a former house guest, how do you feel about the abundance of crapshoot and question comps this season? What comps do you prefer seeing?
What's up, the BB president? We always talk to it on Twitter. What do I prefer? Again, I like the skill games. I like games that reveal alliances. For example, one of my favorites is always the buzz in, pick two people to face off. I love that because you can see individual perspectives and also group dynamics of who's left, who's up. So games like that are pretty cool. Again, same when I watch Survivor. I kind of fast forward through the challenges, like the whole roll of balls, see who wins immunity. Get games that involve calling out alliances, throwing guys under the bus. My favorite challenge this season was a have-not competition where they had to pour slop into each other's jars to who dictates who was on slop, and whoever had the most slop filled in their jar. That was amazing. I mean, it was just for slop, but it was awesome because we get to see more of how people are thinking about the game, not necessarily who's better at rolling a ball in a hole.
Yeah, that was great, and that actually used to be a POV in the U.S. show. I remember,
really,
like around All Stars, like there was a similar, like BB8. Yeah, they had a veto, which was like, how much candy are you going to put in each person's piñata? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's a great competition, and I also like this season down the stretch that we've had some of these competitions that are focused on things that you should study, but that most people don't typically know to study. Like whose eviction quote was this? You know what I mean? Like that's really cool, I think, because that's an iconic moment of your season. When you go back and watch it, that's going to be a piece, but it's hard to really remember in that moment. So now people are needing to be aware of more things that's happening around them throughout the season. I think that's all good stuff.
Yeah. This is a question that is from Danny Guest wants to know, why did Big Brother Canada torture us with Joel lip-syncing to Call Me Maybe? I know you guys touched on this, Alex, during the live feed part of the show, or during the show on Wednesday night. Kevin, did you have any takes on that?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like, again, I think there's one scene every single episode that's like, it's on the fence. All right, we need a little filler. Let's put that in. But it was actually kind of an adorable scene. They really put a lot of time and effort into Joel's character this season, between him getting married with Nikki, him and his interactions with Marissa, the stories about his brother, which was amazing television as well. So they invested a lot in Joel's character, and that was him kind of like, it was Rocky pumping himself up, but it was kind of to a pop song. So I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was cute.
I mean, I was impressed they paid for the rights to that. Maybe is Carly Rae a fan of Big Brother Canada, that she was just like, you guys can have it. I'm a former Canadian reality star myself. You guys can have the Big Brother. Go for it.
That would be awfully nice if so. Yeah, I was wondering. The first thought that came to my head was royalties as well, Rob.
Yeah, because it was like when he was like flipping through the tracks, it was just like like the same like sort of like public domain like cues that you hear at different points during the show. But then when they went into went right into that, and then Joel was like way into it.
And we know from the U.S. version how touchy they are about copyrighted content on feeds. And
Joel,
to make the air show
stop
too.
lip syncing.
I thought it was a transition piece, and Carly's going to be like, "Oh, guess what? I'm Ramsey's vote, not you, Canada. I'm voting this year."
It's just, to me, it really seems so absurd that would be in there, and it wasn't like, oh, she's coming into the house or something like that. Like there was no tie-in to her. It was just like, oh, just here's something that Joel is into.
Yeah, it was like it's like the Adam Pock rule. Like if you mention a celebrity more than twice, that celebrity has to appear in the house.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We should have known the second time he talked about Tori Spelling that an appearance was forthcoming.
Yeah. Okay. On the Carly Rae Jepsen thing, this is from Jihabitan50. Carly Rae Jepsen is Canadian, so I'm sure it's dirt cheap to get a song made by Canadians to be seen and heard by Canadians. And I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, I think we should. No, that comment. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm no, I'm no producer, but.
Right. Did Tim say that? I don't think so. Okay. This is a question from Malachi, who says, "Which player has been the biggest surprise this season?" Kevin, any thoughts on that?
Cassandra, from bio video to final product, Cassandra has the biggest transformation by far. It's just like insane. I love it.
Yeah. Alex, you co-sign that?
Everyone remembers, Rob, that when we did a preseason show on Survivor that I picked Darnell to win, but nobody remembers that I picked Cass to win preseason, Rob. Nobody remembers that I was. Wow. Like, I'm not as hard on this bandwagon as some are now, but I was on here first, Rob. It was plenty spacious at one point.
Look at you. Very interesting. Is it possible that we could have some sort of a reveal where Joel is actually the brother of Carly Rae Jepsen in a Frankie Grande-like twist? Is that possible, Kevin?
Be amazing. And like Joel like goes to there's so many I wish. That's a dreamland, Rob.
Yeah, my sister is a mega Canadian pop star. That's right.
Who wants to shine bright like a
Joel? Yeah. Okay. Let's go some more questions. This is from Moose Girl 96. Kevin is way too high on the brothers. No, Kevin. No, just because they're a twist and made it far doesn't make them good players. How do you respond?
No, I'm not saying they're good players at all. All right, let's put this in context. I say they're not good. They're not good Big Brother players. They don't understand how they're being perceived. They told people they can't win the game. They have pissed people off. They are a C- Big Brother player. I'm talking about satisfying. At the end of the day, when I shut off season 4, I say, oh, the brothers won. That was an amazing season of television. I feel like the story has finished on a good note. They're not good players. Let's put it. Good players, good win. I mean, sometimes good players win, and I feel very unsatisfied. I'm just saying that it's amazing, and I hope they win the trophy because it would be awesome. And those are the kind of guys that would buy me lots of drinks in Toronto. For free at finale.
They'll be way into it. It'll be that money will be gone by June 1st.
Kevin's invested in this outcome. Yeah.
So what equity do I have in certain players winning the show?
Yeah. Okay, let's take some more questions. This is from What Up 5. Not sure if you talked about this with Joel today. Why do you think that Joel didn't tell the Threak Show what he was doing in the POV during the breaks in between the rounds? Couldn't he see Tim was fuming? We did touch on this in the exit interview. You can hear more about that. I'll put that in the audio version of this podcast. I think it was just a miscommunication. How bad of a look is that for Joel as a player, Alex?
Yeah, it looked really bad. And, we didn't, we're not watching feeds during that competition, so we don't know exactly how overt it was. But, man, the show made it look really bad. It's like Tim is glaring as they're like literally they both have their hands on a DVD. And Phil's like, I need this one. And Joel's like, I need it too. And Phil's like, yeah, but I need it more. And Joel lets it go. That's terrible. Like, if Tim sees that, Tim should totally be suspicious. He's absolutely right to be.
So, do you think it was you don't think it was an overreaction from Tim?
Well, if it went down exactly like that, that's the point. That was the way we saw it on the show. It looked very, cut and dry. Like, this is what happened. But it's possible it was more subtle, that exchange happened when they knew Tim wasn't looking or something. So, it might have just been a bit of a misread. I don't necessarily want to say that Joel was being, like, overtly dumb about it, because I don't know for sure.
Because, Kevin, couldn't you make the point that if Joel still was with the Freak Show, that we had basically Tim and Cassandra work to get one of their allies out of the house this week?
Sorry, we had to cut. Can you say that again, Rob?
That basically where Tim turned on Joel, and it was, again, in self-preservation, but he did ultimately get a guy out of the house this week who was working with them rather than he turned his back on him during that competition.
Yeah, again, it was just Joel just completely messed everything up. Like it would have been awesome for Joel to win and save the alliance going forward. It would have been like I feel like Cass, Tim, and Joel all lost like a little bit of. There's just a complete lack of communication, similar to like how the twins didn't communicate before the POV, the bowling challenge in BB the last year. Similar thing. And then during breaks, that's the thing I don't understand. They have breaks in the competition segregated from the backyard where you can go and have private conversations. That during a competition is so valuable, and it was again a complete lack of. He just sat at the table. I think it just slop. He was exhausted. He didn't know what was going on. He literally, I think, he hit his mental limit, and I felt bad for him because it ended his game.
And we had seen Joel approach Kelsey and try to convince Kelsey of putting up the brothers to his own detriment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that was really the moment that made Kelsey realize, like, Joel would only be pitching this to me if he was the third member of that three-person alliance they're talking about. So, that right there shows that Joel wasn't disloyal to Tim. It was just a terrible, miscommunication that Joel could not afford at that moment.
Here's a question from Mohammed, who says, after Cassandra making it past this crazy week, is it safe to say that she's the best Big Brother Canada player of all time? This is being discussed. Okay, so Mohammed says he's not alone in this viewpoint. All right, let's bring it to the panel. Kevin, is it safe to say that Cassandra is now, that she's reached the Final Four, the best Big Brother Canada player of all time?
If I have to put my life on a Big Brother player in another season, God, it wouldn't be on Cassandra. It just wouldn't. No. In terms of entertainment and strategy, maybe the best we've ever seen, because we've seen Netta and Emmett, while being entertaining, Cass has taken it to another level. But I think both Emmett and Netta and even John. She's in the top 5, but she's not competing for the top spot. I mean, she still has another week of Big Brother to play. Let's see how she does, but not the top spot yet. That's a big step.
Alex, to me, she's been incredible television. I feel like she's almost like a Janelle of Big Brother Canada in combining, the fierce competitor and also the personality in the diary room. But I have to say that I feel like that there have been a lot of circumstances this season. I would not have her as one of the best players. I don't know if she's on that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Certainly,
Can we win the season first?
Best is a bit, that's a bit of an opinion statement too, because what do you consider to be the best? Or what are you watching the show for? But when I think of best, I'm thinking about gameplay, and to me, yeah, like you said, great entertainment. I think, I don't know if the Janelle comparison is fair. I think she's much more strategic and much more persuasive than we ever saw Janelle being. And, on the other side, she's nowhere near as physical in the competitions as Janelle was capable of being. We saw Janelle knock dudes over on the way to winning vetoes. But, like, I think she's played a really strong game. However, I think there is a caveat that needs to be made about, like, she almost went home when she's up against Christine. And she's only in that position because she's not able to bite her tongue when Levita wins. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain little things that she did. She's great that she was able to, worm her way out of these spots. But some of these spots she put herself into. So ideally, the best Big Brother players don't say the things, don't like have the slip of the tongue that cause you to need to go on an apology tour to begin with. Mm-hmm. She's great at the apology tour, but she has to go on it, you know what I mean? Because she's a little bit biting with the tongue, and so am I. I get it, but it's just, it would be better to be tactful. In some of those moments, the best thing to say is nothing.
Yeah, no, but incredible television character, amazing personality, and has been a huge part of this season. All right, Kenneth wants to know, whatever happened to the Daily Alarm? Did they cancel that twist after the Mitch fiasco?
That was a takeover.
It was a takeover, so it's canceled? Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
All right, let's call our shots here as we are at the Final Four, because 1 week from now, the season will be over, 6 days until the finale. All right, Alex, when we sit here in 6 days' time, the winner of this season is who?
Cassandra.
Cassandra, okay. And who does she beat? Give me the final two and the winner. So Cassandra beats who?
Cassandra and the brothers.
Cassandra, okay. Cassandra beats the brothers in the finale. Okay. And who goes? Is Tim in third place or fourth place?
Fourth.
Fourth. Okay. All right. So Tim's out this week. All right, Kevin. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I can see that. I could see that. Oh man. Okay, the champion of Big Brother Canada season 4 is going to be Cassandra. I believe she has the highest chance, and I really think Kelsey is going to get that second place prize. With the brothers getting cut in third, walking out to Ariska, and it's going to be so much fun watching the brothers get third too. I mean, it's basically going to be fun watching the brothers win or get third. Can you imagine how mad they'll be, and they'll be so mad at each other going back and forth?
Time to share that final chair. Here you go.
I think Cassandra's going to win the whole thing.
I feel like Tim has a few comp wins left in him. I kind of see him winning the veto this week, and I feel like that he's going to be okay. I think they'll get rid of Kelsey here at this spot, and then they get down to the final three, and one either Tim or Cassandra is going to cut the other one after the final three HOH. I'll go the other way. I'll say a Tim win over the brothers, and I see the brothers trying to rally the troops of like, can't you see he's not Canadian? And then
Listen to this man when he speaks.
Yes,
This is an accent.
Yes. Keep Australians out of Canada. They're coming into our country trying to win our shows.
Make Canada great again.
Yeah. So I think that would be a very interesting. I mean, wouldn't that be a wild final two where it would be like I think it would get kind of nasty. Where I feel like that in the past these final twos tend to be like, oh, here's what I did, here's what I did. I think that this might be the first time that you get like somebody really going on the attack. I mean, it might be very similar to maybe this election that we're going to have where you really get people throwing mud at each other in this final two, where Tim is definitely going to be like, this is so stupid, this is so dumb. And then the brothers are going to be going after him saying that he's not a Canadian citizen. Yeah, check his birth certificate. And then I think it's going to be a really heated final two. Could be wild.
It's going to be fun.
Could be some intense drama, yeah. And send in your questions. You get to actually ask some questions now if you're fans, so that's kind of cool. I think tweet your questions to Big Brother Canada if you've got some good ones.
Yeah, so I think that any combination of those final, as long as we don't have Kelsey in that final two, that's not going to happen, right, Alex?
Come on, Kelsey, Rob?
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there for me.
Yeah. No, to be fair, if Kelsey, I don't think is having fun. I don't think Kelsey's enjoying being in that house from day one to the end. I haven't seen her crack a smile.
Just going through the motions.
It's been very unsatisfying. The final two would be kind of a wipe if Kelsey was there, in my opinion. So yeah, kind of the GOAT.
I think you have three great. I'm counting the brothers as one. I think you have three great stories there in that final four, and then just Kelsey.
But don't say that to Kelsey because it's mean. Regardless of whether or not it's true, it's very mean.
Well, yeah, I probably wouldn't say it to anybody. I mean, it's kind of.
That has been a recurring theme because the brothers keep telling Kelsey she has no shot to win, and she just keeps getting mad that they are trying to state it in a factual manner, but she's like, that's so mean. Stop saying that.
You shouldn't say it to her, but I'm just saying, the truth as a commentator on this show, I think that is far and away the least appealing story of this Final Four is Kelsey being there.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully she goes out, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Going to be a very fun week. Kevin, where can people see you streaming All About Poker?
Oh yeah, we're running a poker show like 4 or 5 times a week over on Twitch, running a YouTube channel. So yeah, really enjoying that progress. And just Google Twitch Kevin Martin Poker, something should pop up.
Okay, and people just can watch you. And what do you talk about when you're playing?
Oh, so basically we just have a good time. So yeah, I used to play live poker professionally, and after the show, I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to that. So I jumped online, and again, we're hoping to make a few dollars, but mostly we're just playing, getting better, and just enjoying the time and talking about random stuff. So yeah, I just walked through my decisions. Oh, we have aces. Let's put some money in the middle. Oh shoot, they hit a queen. You know, it's just kind of. But we make it understandable. You don't have to be a fan of poker to enjoy the stream.
Okay, so I should be watching you before I go to run it up Reno.
Again, if you want to learn high-class strategy, maybe go to you'll learn bits, though.
All right, well, very much looking forward to hanging out in a couple of weeks, of course. You can follow Alex on Twitter as well, at Alex Kidwell. I don't know exactly if we figured out what the rotation is for next Friday's show, but I'm sure that Alex is going to be a part of either what Jordan is doing on Thursday or with me here on Friday.
I'm pretty sure I will be here on Friday, Rob.
Okay, good. All right, looking forward to that. Of course, we've got our Amazing Race podcast coming up tonight live at 9:15. We've got our interview with Arissa Cox also coming up on Monday on the podcast. My exit interview with Joel is going to be heard right after this on the audio version, plus lots of great Survivor stuff this week as well. Recap with Poverty Shallow, voicemails with Mike Bloom, all on the podcast. So hope you guys check those out. Make sure you subscribe to Rob as a podcast to make sure you don't miss any of it. Go to robasawebsite.com/iTunes or search for RHAP in your favorite podcatcher. Have a good one, everybody. Take care.